to know you're still there with us. The program is still Good Morning in Abuja, reaching you from the Unity Station, NTA Channel 5. Moving further, I have seated by me, Memuna Umi Abdullahi, also known as Coach Didi. She is a mental health aider, and we will be looking at tools on how to prevent suicide. Good to have you here.
It's good to be here. Good morning.
Amazing. So what is mental health first aid?
Basically, mental health first aid is basically a training whereby you're taught how to identify, understand, and respond to mental health issues and substance abuse. Basically. How to make conversations about mental health easy, tackle stigma attached to mental health illnesses, and also listen without judgment to people who suffer from mental health issues.
Amazing. Nice. So how do you recognize the signs and symptoms of mental health?
Well, there are many signs and symptoms, and I have to make sure that people understand this. I remember when I had my first training as well, any small sign I see, I was this person has mental health issues. So not necessarily, you could have just one or two of those signs. Doesn't mean you're having a mental health issue. It could be emotional distress. There's a difference. But major signs is basically that has to do with your mood, your thinking, and your behavior. Because mental health itself means how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. So which means we all have mental health issues at some point. For example, if I stand on this chair right now, everybody will say, what is going on here? Because I'm a 45-year-old woman. I shouldn't stand on a chair. But if a 3-year-old or 4-year-old does that, it's normal. So it's abnormal behavior, one. Eating pattern. When an eating pattern changes from maybe eating too much to eating too little, or a person who eats too little now starts to eat too much, sleeping too much or sleeping too little, and withdrawal. When somebody who is an extrovert, who is always the hype of the place and everything, all of a sudden doesn't talk to anyone, likes to be secluded, it shows a sign of mental health issues. And if it's another person who's an introvert, not an outgoing person, then all of a sudden it's all over the place. So it's extreme changes in moods, highs and lows. 1 minute you're laughing, 1 minute you're crying, 1 minute you're crying, the other minute you're laughing, And then it also could be drug use, because mental health issues could lead to drug use. There's a debate on that. Some people say it's a mental health illness, some people say it's not. So, and then there's also like changes in attitude. Usually this person is nice and patient, but all of a sudden the person is aggressive. Excessive anger is also a sign of mental health issues. There are so many of them.
So how do you identify situations like suicidal behaviors, substance overdose, and acute stress?
Well, for substance abuse, one of the signs is hallucination and paranoia. I have known you all my life, and all of a sudden you tell me that you are the king of Abuja. First of all, Abuja has no king, right? Or you are the king of Nigeria, or it's basically hallucination. Grandeur. So, and then hallucination, you see that person there. We can't see anything, but you see something. Wow. So hallucination. And there's also excessive confidence, because the drugs play with your brain sometimes. There's also the case of energy, excessive energy. Some people who are on drugs have this excessive energy. These are signs. And for, what's it called, the other one? That's for substance abuse.
Yes.
And for which one?
Acute stress.
Acute stress. One of the signs of stress is fatigue. Also excessive anger, irritability. You get irritated so easily. And then withdrawal as well. Restlessness, sometimes sleeplessness. It's also signs of stress.
Amazing. Now, talking about stress, is it just when you go out and do stuff that you get stressed, or when you stay and maybe you're thinking of something and you get stressed? Can it affect your psyche too?
Of course it can. And I keep saying this. Look, we cannot live in this country right now and not be stressed. Who is not stressed? I say not only that body no get stressed.
Seriously?
Things are stressful. The economy, the way it is right now, I honestly don't know how people manage. So it is stressful. You have children, they go to school, you have to feed. They get sick, you go to the hospital as well. So honestly, stress right now is a part of life. So it's not about the stress, because you cannot live life without being stressed. There must be something that will stress you. But the ability to manage stress is the core of the matter. And that's why we keep on talking about stress management skills. Because we cannot eradicate a life without stress. Whether you like, even if you are the poop, if you are the most God-fearing person, if you like spend your day in the church, spend your day in the mosque, it doesn't mean bad things won't happen to you. So we just have to learn how to cope with the bad things that happen to you.
Amazing. Now, if you are stressed, how can you come out of this stress? I mean, there are people who think maybe if they are stressed, sleeping could make them be calm, or something. Some people think maybe taking drugs or something. How could one naturally come out of this stress?
Honestly, it's basically mind work. Like in mental health first aid, most of us coaches, what we use, there's this technique, a tool, it's called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Most of the problems we have as a people, believe me, stems from our minds. Yes, it's not that the problem is not there, but our mind sometimes makes it worse than it really is. So if you can do work on your mind, it helps. For example, as a people, we focus more on our problems than solution. Most of the time, we spend all our energy on the problem. Oh, my head, okay, my car got bad yesterday or today. Oh my God, my car is bad. Oh my God, my car is, what will I do? My car is bad. You know, you are focusing on the car being bad. That's already the problem. Instead of, what can I do? So when you focus on the problem, it causes more problems.
How do you manage this stress? We have people around us that are stressed, and sometimes we see that they are really stressed, but we don't know how to help. Now, as friends or family who are concerned with people who are really stressed, and we see that this stress is affecting them, what can we do to help them?
The first thing I always tell people is please be kind. Be kind to people. People can be so cruel to people who are going through things they think they can manage better. We're all different. So your threshold for pain is different from mine.
That's true.
So if you come from a place of empathy, it's basically emotional intelligence. We are not the same. Perhaps you can handle this better, I cannot. Treat me with some empathy. So what I tell people is please be kind to people. And then you see, we are fond of doing this thing. And we are all guilty of it. You see some, babe, how now? You don't even look at her. Perhaps once in a while, stop and look at someone and ask her how she is doing. Maintain eye contact.
Wow.
How are you doing? Do you know that it has happened to me? I met a lady and she came to me for a session. Immediately she sat down. I said, hello, ma'am, how are you doing? And I maintained eye contact and she busted into tears.
Wow.
It is powerful because we don't show concern. We say hello, but we don't look at the person. We say hello, we don't even pause to actually listen to whether the person, and you know, by nature, we have been raised not to show weakness.
That's true.
Village people mentality. They will laugh at us. So
that's
whatever
true.
you're going through, hold it in. And this is the core of the matter. This is what is causing so much stress for people. This is why it's hard for people to talk about mental health. There is so much stigma attached to it. And people are so unkind. So if we can only be kind to other people, perhaps it will go a long way. Don't treat them with disdain. Don't feel you're so much better than them because you can handle your problems better. Yes, you are better in some way, but she could be better in another part of her life. So come from a place of empathy.
You know, when you were talking, it just dropped in my mind. I feel like now this mental health, does it have to do with depression? Talking about being kind to someone. I met a friend, and it's a very short story. I'm going to make it very brief. And she came to me. She was like, okay, this is what I'm going through. How do I come out of it? You know, because I've met this person, and this is what the person said. I've met this one, and this is what this person said. But I feel that my problem is too much for me. I mean, when we come across people like that, how can we help? What do we do? You know, talking like what he said, looking at someone, maintaining an eye contact, talking to someone alone is something. I mean, giving someone a shoulder to lean on is something. Even giving someone a hug, it's medicinal. It goes a long way. But when you're in an environment where you're being judged, she's too much, she's doing this thing, who does she think she is? In situations like that, how do you help?
It still comes down to the same thing, emotional intelligence. Be kind. You see, when someone meets you, and you see, this is the awareness we're trying to create. It takes a lot of courage to talk about your problems. Because we've not been raised to talk about our problems. It's supposed to be weakness. You're supposed to be brave enough to hold it in. So when somebody does have the courage to talk to you, please listen, and listen without judgment. You see, there are some people that are listening and are going like this. Even from your eyes, your gesture, I can see judgment. They will stop. So come from a place of empathy. If it helps, hold the person's hand and tell her, I'm right here. And you see, the mistake people make is, I know how you are feeling. You don't know how I'm feeling because you are not sure what I'm going through. So don't say you know how she's feeling. You don't know. Just say, I'm right here. What can I do? How can I make this better for you? You see these words? They are magical. That's the best you can do. And then you can actually refer her to someone who she can seek help from. You see, we this feeling, this belief that it's a weakness to see a therapist. I see a therapist. It's not a weakness. It's not something you should be ashamed of. There are sometimes things happen to people and you cannot handle it. You cannot manage it, and it's okay. That's why in mental health we keep on telling people it's okay not to be okay. Sometimes.
Wow.
But you just don't have to remain not okay. Do something about it. I think that's what we should have these conversations more often. I go to schools. I go to organizations and I talk to them about mental health, because we need to make it okay to talk about these things and make sure that people understand that there is nothing to be ashamed of.
Nothing.
It doesn't make you less a person simply because you're having challenges you cannot handle properly. Go somewhere to a person who can equip you with these tools.
Amazing. Now, mental health, is it gender-based? Because we feel like women are the only ones who are more stressed than the men. But I tell you, there are men too who go through these things. And they feel, why will I talk? I'm a man. I should be able to absorb it, you know. Is it gender-based? Like,
honestly, you've just said it all. It's not gender-based. Stress is something that can happen to anyone. It's just your body's reaction to things that are happening around you. But the truth is, in Africa, for example, and I think the whole world, men have been raised. They've been raised to be able to handle stressful situations. They've been told that you're a man. Let me share this with you. I've always raised my children to understand that it's okay to cry. When my son finished secondary school, one day he came back to me and he said, Didi, you've always told me that it's okay to cry, but my friend told me that it's a weakness. I'm a man, I'm not supposed to cry. You see how they pause and
you see?
And I said to him, do you feel pain? He said yes. Do you feel so much pain you need to cry? He said yes. I said, then why do you think you don't have to? I said, I'm not telling you to go and be wailing all over the place. But when you feel so much emotions, you can let it out, because God created tears for a reason.
That's
It's
true.
a relief.
That's true.
So our men have been raised not to show weakness. They've been raised not to show that they are suffering through anything. So that's why they hold on to so much stress. But we have also been raised to believe that we are weaker, so we can express ourselves, and it's easier for us to do that. So I think we have to change this narrative. We should raise boys to make them understand that they can cry. It's okay to cry. And when you feel pain, you can actually talk to someone. It's not weakness.
Amazing. So now, how do we provide initial help? Like you said, it's normal to see a therapist, but you know, in our country, they feel if you go see someone, why would she go to see a therapist? But out there is normal. Anyone can go see a therapist. What do you think we can put into place to make this accessible?
Awareness. It's basically awareness. We have to create awareness. We should have more of these things. We should go to more schools, more organizations. I work with schools. I also do trainings for organizations. And believe me, it's a tough one, selling it to organizations. Mental health awareness. When I come and tell I want to do mental health awareness training for the staff, what is that for now? But the truth is, it goes hand in hand. If you do emotional intelligence training, then why can't you do mental health awareness training? When you talk about stress management, which one is against stress management? You have to do training for that. Everyone is stressed. And let me explain something to you. From the head of an organization to the driver or to the security man, everybody has stress. You know why? Because we're human beings. And they carry their stress from their homes to their workplace. So that is why we need to do more of this awareness trainings.
That's true. Amazing. A word of advice to people watching us out there.
What I would say is, please be kind. You don't know what people are going through, because already we don't like talking about it. So you don't have to know. But when you meet people, be kind to them. It goes a long way. Show empathy.
Thank you so much for coming. For the past few minutes, I have been speaking with Coach Didi, and you heard her last word, be kind to people. People are going through a lot. A shoulder can help someone. Even a hug can help someone. Don't go nowhere. Good Morning Abuja continues. Please stick and stay with us. We'll be back.
Ain't no hood like a sisterhood. What? Ain't no hood like a sisterhood.